Help! Mr. Qorvex, please! It's the Thrax! They have completely taken over the Zariman, and I'm scared this Cascade might grow out of control. Isn't there anything you can do?
Ah, I didn't see you there. Hello, my name is Alexei Sokolov, but you can call me Weird Cola. And today, I'm excited to share with you the greatest Qorvex build. It features friendly fire.
Hey, that's full auto in buildings, bro.
I'm not full auto, it's not full auto.
That's not full auto.
This is.
Many energy orbs, the Demon Core, and complete invulnerability. I should really stop this bit while I'm ahead. Anyways, Qorvex was a pleasant surprise, especially after a couple disappointing Mesa level caps.
Look at the build, look at the red crit Mesa build. Oh my god, that's crazy.
I shoved 15 Tau Forge oranges up my ass and now I can hit red crits for days.
No more Mesa video, by the way. I don't really like her anymore. The build and her run are still available, but you gotta go find that shit. Back to Qorvex though. His build is entirely focused around being in his Crucible Blast as much as possible, which is being augmented by Fated Crucible. This changes his 4 into a walking Fukushima incident, and also grants you invulnerability while channeling it, completely solving the survivability problem of level cap. Kind of. Unfortunately, this ability doesn't really do a lot of upfront damage, but there are ways to solve for this. Transient, Precision Intensify, and Mold Augmented grant a 3x multiplier to the ability's damage, which is stacked with 4 orange radiation shards, granting 1.6x multiplier to the ability's damage against enemies affected by the radiation status, which Crucible Blast force procs. I also use the subsumed ability of Phantomize to completely remove enemy armor, which allows Crucible Blast to apply its full unmitigated damage, effectively giving it a 10x multiplier against high-level armored enemies. All these extra multipliers combined results in still pretty shit damage. If you move the beam up a little bit, this does give it a 3x headshot multiplier, but it's still nowhere near the DPS required to kill level cap enemies. You see, the majority of the damage of Crucible Blast doesn't actually come from the beam. Instead, it comes from the chain reaction explosions. When hitting an enemy with a laser, this will cause the enemy to occasionally explode, dealing damage around it based on the number of radiation procs. If this explosion hits another enemy affected by radiation, this will also trigger another explosion. These explosions can overlap and trigger each other multiple times, with each subsequent explosion adding the current number of radiation procs to the previous explosion's total number of procs, scaling the damage of the explosion even further. So you will see some of the best results when attacking groups of enemies. I guess it would have been nice if DE gave Qorvex some sort of grouping ability. Containment Wall is fine. However, I found in a level cap context, spending the time to try to group up enemies left me exposed for too long, making survivability on him much harder. And trying to invest more casting speed shards to tighten this window didn't really feel warranted for the minuscule benefit. Sorry I placed it with the Phantomize. Also speaking of abilities I don't use, while status immunity is goated in Void Cascade, Disometric Guard disables your Warframe's Grey Bar while an operator. And outside of channeling Crucible Blast, your only other forms of survivability are Qorvex's default 1.2 second shield gate and Rolling Guard, which is not a lot. This kind of requires you to use transference gating to push level cap, so I, in general, kept this ability off. I think both Wall and Guard are great abilities, just they are more meant for base game, not level capping. For the rest of the build, I scaled the range and duration of the Chirinka pillars with Cunning Drift, Stretch, and Prime Continuity. And because of Fuse Crucible, these pillars will also trigger Chain Reaction Explosions when using Crucible Blast. Finally, for energy economy, I went with Prime Flow and Equilibrium combined with the new Techno-Raw Arcane Universal Fallout, which grants the chance for enemies affected by radiation to drop Universal Orbs. These orbs are juicy, and grant a ton of energy with Equilibrium. Thank you, Persian, for letting me borrow this Arcane. Since Qorvex's Pillars and Crucible Blast both force proc radiation, I never once ran into energy problems while running level caps. And that's pretty much the build. A couple final notes. For the aura slot, this really can be anything. I ended up running Ready Steel so I could easily activate my melees in Karnan, but I ended up not using the melee that much, if at all, during most of my runs. I also would recommend bringing some sort of way to deal with Thrax. While Crucible Blast's damage is okay for level cap, chewing through over 15 million Overguard is definitely a chore. So either bring in a dedicated Thrax weapon, or what I ended up doing, bring an Overguard Stripper. I like using the Fierce, but any high damage secondary modded with Magnetic and Secondary Fortifier will work. Don't worry about Acolytes, by the way, they kinda just get vaporized. Lastly, I've seen people use Nautilus's Cordon to help with grouping enemies, but I can't really speak to the effectiveness of it since I never actually tried it out. It might be worth giving it a shot if you're having a hard time finding groups of enemies, but for me, I refuse to use any other companion except my beloved Virus Cat.
Why all the chili?
For the rest of the build, I scaled the range and the duration of... Oh, how the fuck do I say that?